You beautiful people. Oh, got an itch on my arm. Lisa sharing life stories with you. It's a little cold. I'm going to roll that up. I thought, you know what? I thought for the heck of it, hoo-ha, before the Super Bowl comes on and everybody's busy, I thought I would tell you guys a little bit about my life, why I'm kind of tough, and what I came from and what has happened in my life. I've had a hard life. I mean, I've had everything in my life, but let me start from the get-go, and I'm going to kind of roughly say this. I'm going to go over it kind of fast so I can say the whole thing within like 13 to 14 minutes, if that makes sense. All right, blah, blah, blah. I was born, obviously, because I'm here. I was always heavier set. Had a hard time in school. People would make fun, and that just always crushed me. Broke my heart, right? But I had friends and all that, and like everybody else does. And so time went on, and it seemed like everything was fine, and our whole lives changed. Like I said, things are repaired now with my cousins. But when her father, her father passed away when she was 18. So I'm 4 years younger than her. What does that make me? 14, 13 and a half. When her father passed away, he died of a massive heart attack in his kitchen on the kitchen floor, the house where my aunt still lives. And her second husband died in that house too. And my aunt says that neighborhood is cursed because the man next door to the left of her fell a couple years ago on the cement, and he had some kind of, I don't know what he had with his brain or whatever, and he died. The man to the right of him, the Italian man, Tony, he went up north or something with his kids or something for a fishing trip, got hit in the middle of the road, and he died. And my aunt said she knows he came back because a tomato plant, he was so famous for growing everything. This man was awesome. A tomato plant came out of a crack, and it was the most beautiful tomato plant, and she goes, that was Tony's way of saying, hello, I'm okay. And I believe that. I truly believe that. I mean, because their garden was way in the back, and this was all the way in the front of the house. Just seems kind of odd. I know birds carry seeds, but it just was kind of odd. It was odd in a good way. That was his message. He made it to God, okay. And, so when my Uncle Philip passed on, we were there. We got the call around midnight. My dad was just coming home from work, so me and my mom and dad went in the car. My dad wouldn't let me and my mom go in there and see my uncle like that. I guess there was blood everywhere. They were doing different things on my uncle, trying to bring him back and everything. And my dad was such a good brother-in-law. My cousin wasn't home. She was out with her boyfriends and stuff like that, and whatever, you know, just like what a young person would do. She was young. She was only barely 18, and I don't know, her brother I don't think was home either. And so I think she just came home. I remember her telling me that she came home with one of her girlfriends, and she couldn't believe that the ambulance was like, wow, it's at my house. And that she got real scared to go in, and she stayed home, but my dad took my aunt to the hospital. He was the one that went, and it was just so heartbreaking. I never forget calling my cousin Natalie, and because it was quite, see, we didn't have, none of us had cell phones back then, and I remember calling her, and it was quite a long time went by, and we were wondering, me and my mother, he told my mom to stay home too, because my mom was just a delicate person. She couldn't take much. Just everything upsetted her heart and soul. My mom is such a good person. She makes me look like garbage. And I remember my cousin saying my dad died, and that crushed me. I'm like, what? She's like, my dad died, and I didn't know what to say. And I'm like, okay, I said something, and then I hung up. I couldn't believe it. My dad came home. My Uncle Philip was his best friend, and I don't think my Uncle Philip knew it. And they used to hang out every Friday when my mom and my aunt would go grocery shopping together. They became real close, my dad and my uncle. They were real close at the end. Like, they would hang out, but they got really close at the end. And I remember my dad being screwed up from my uncle dying. Like, upset, really upset. He drank a real lot then when my uncle passed away, because that's the only way he could calm his nerves, you know what I'm saying? And he finished all the painting, because they just moved into that house. He painted the rest of the house for my aunt, I believe for nothing. Painted the rest of her whole house and finished it for her. And I think they helped my dad, he helped my aunt sell the car. My uncle just had bought a brand new Buick Riviera. Remember when they used to be big? And if young people wouldn't remember that, but it was a big, beautiful silver car. And I remember, it was so sad. It was only in that garage for a short amount of time. That's just so sad. And I remember, oh my God, my eyes just itching so bad. So my ma got so depressed, and I was depressed, and it hurt me too when my uncle passed, that she went into a deep depression. Our whole family was screwed up, and my ma had a chemical imbalance anyway, so anything, we didn't even go to his funeral, me and my mom. We were so upset, and I think I was upset because my ma affected me. So she made me even more upset, and I was a kid. My dad went, and it was just really a sad funeral. And so I remember, I believe it was April, my uncle passed in, and I remember it was just becoming spring, and my mom goes, everything felt like when we went outside, felt real weird and strange, like it just didn't seem right. We all grieved my uncle, something horrible. And our family wasn't right after my uncle died for years. Years and years it took. It really wasn't. It hurt so bad. And then years went by, and my aunt, and this is weird, my mom always thought she was going to die young, and my aunt would marry a guy named Larry. And that happened. She thought she was going to marry my dad. My mom always said, I'm going to die, and your aunt's going to marry my dad. She goes, I know that sounds stupid, but she really did marry a Larry. Isn't that weird? My dad's name is Larry, and my mom did pass away young at 68. See, my mom, she knew shit. My mom was, I'm telling you, my mom was psychic, very much so. We went in my grandma and grandpa's house that lived in Detroit. It was a beautiful old style house. It had like a solarium room or a garden room. It had lights on the top and had all lead glass windows. It was just beautiful. And I remember my mom sitting in there one day with my godmother, Aunt Lily, where me, her, and my mom were just sitting together, and my mom said something about, I don't know, kids or something. And my aunt said a little girl died here once. And my mom goes, let me guess the name. And my aunt went upstairs, and there was books left from them, the original people that left there. And she goes, I have a feeling the little girl who lived here's name was Bonnie. And I swear to God, my aunt went and got books upstairs. What was the little girl's name? Bonnie, how? My mom got a directed message because in that same house, and I didn't find this out till after the fact, my grandpa, my Jaja, what we call, because it's Polish for grandpa, my dad told me he would lay in bed and he'd see the indentation. Somebody sit on the bed with him. That was a little girl. I hope somebody told her to cross over and go to the light of God. If you guys ever experience something like that, sometimes souls get trapped or whatever, but tell them to go to God. God is waiting for them, and he won't let nobody hurt them, and he will love them. So tell them that. And how did my mom know? My aunt was freaked out, and so was I, and so was my mother. My aunt goes, I can't even believe this. She opened the book and it said Bonnie, and whatever grade she was in. What a pretty little name, Bonnie. God bless you, Bonnie. Go to the light of God, honey. And so yeah, okay, so that's I'm just getting off track thinking about things. So, you know, we dealt with my uncle passing, and it really messed our family up for years. My aunt got real skinny from it. She was a nervous wreck. She got a job. She got a brand new Chevette. Cars were in style back then. She got a bright red Chevy Chevette. And they were holding on by the skin of their teeth. My mom could even helped more with groceries than she did. And my grandmother could have got off her butt and helped too. Because my aunt was struggling. And I know we bought groceries for them a couple times. And took food over there. But yeah, it was hard. It was hard for her. She had some hard times. And my eyes are itching so bad. Dryness. And my aunt made it through, and then my cousin, her son, got drunk at a party or something and got hit by a car and had to have rods all in his back or his legs or both. And I think he still has rods in him to this day. I mean, it was just horrible how he got hurt. It wasn't just like getting hurt. I think he almost died from that, and he's in great physical condition now. He don't eat too much of anything. I mean, but he was, oh my God. I forgot about that. You say it's funny how you forget about things? Oh my God, he just got hurt so bad. Oh, jeez. So, that went on. Okay, so that was all going on. Now, we're approaching the time we're dealing with my uncle passing on. My ma starts going through the change of life. Almost at 40, 39, 38 and a half. She was young, going through the change of life, and so was I. Very young. Because I started my menstrual cycle very young, at like 10 and a half, 11, and so did she, and we ended early. And, so, when she started going through the change of life, my mom got very, very sick. Very sickly. She had chemical imbalance. Nobody knew what that was way back then, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. They didn't know what to do for you. Me and my dad took my mother everywhere on the face of this earth. Every screwed up doctor, every psychiatrist doctor had voodoo shit on the walls. We finally have found help for my mom at U of M Hospital. Yeah, in Ann Arbor. And I remember my mother throwing up all the way there in a bucket, throwing up all the way home, because she would just be sick to her stomach. And I remember, which was weird, the shit she would have, that chemical imbalance would turn on in the morning and turn off at night. And at nighttime, she always felt better, and I'm going to do better next day and feel better. And I'd see it turn right on the next day, and she would be so bad, beside herself, depressed, everything. She couldn't do nothing. She couldn't fight that. She had to be on medicine. And I'm going to tell you, she went on Xanax. And back then, it worked for her. She was on other medications that didn't do anything. And I knew, and she always said, like, I got no reason to be depressed. I got a wonderful husband, wonderful daughter. Why am I depressed? I got everything to live for. I got, a little bit of money, decent life, everything. And I'm just sick. And, yeah. So we finally found help from my mom. We get my mom straightened around. And now it's my dad. Started having heart problems. Palpitations. His heart would beat real fast. AFib. And make a long story short, I forget who else, what was going on with the family or everything. My dad got AFib. And I think right about then, his sisters, after that, I think after him, had stroke. My Aunt Gloria had a stroke. And some other stuff, I forget went on. But my dad had a massive midbrain stroke where it affected both sides of your body. And I remember becoming like the boss of the household. I made my mom take a gold necklace she had out of layaway, and I was busy trying to pay the bills, and I got on doctors' asses to fill our paperwork out so we could get money. I was always just tough. I don't know. I was always tough. I always told my husband, I'm going to swim. I'm not going to sink. I'm going to swim and make it. And yeah, I made it. I made it for my mom and dad and me till the doctors could clear us getting money. And my dad went on disability retirement. And it was the best thing he ever did in his life. And he continued to do all kinds of things for my mother from home. And he got better. And then he had years of long sickness ahead of him. In and out of the hospital. You know, he had both hips replaced, both knees. 4 stents in his heart to keep it going. I was there for every one of those things, day and night, helping my father, making my dad be able to walk. I walk with him and walk with him. I got him going and up again. I never gave up, not 1 second, of my dad. And it was hard. And then my mom got diagnosed when she was just going to be turning 68. And I'm not going to talk about this too much because it hurts too bad. And she got diagnosed with uterine cancer. It's supposed to be the most curable cancer there is. No, my mom died from the surgery. I'll never fucking forget that my whole life. I'll never forget that. Destroyed my life. And I know now what I didn't know then. When they took my mother, God took my, well, not God, but the disease took my mother away from me. I heard my mom screaming, I'm okay in my ear, and I didn't know what that meant. I didn't understand it. She's trying to reach me from the other side saying, she's okay, she's happy. Somebody's got a loud freaking car. There they go. And I didn't know that like I know now. When my mother passed on, I read about 200 books of people, afterlife people with loved ones that go to the other side and come back. And I always regretted and wanted to kick myself that I wasn't there for my mother, that she passed away alone. But nobody's alone now that I know. And she kept calling out a name, and it wasn't my name, and I just didn't know whose name it was. So I know by that my mother wasn't alone. The saint came with my mother. The saint came to be with my beautiful red hair, bright red hair, red lipstick, beautiful mother. I just got the feeling of my mother when I said that. That was so weird, and it was only a second this time. I felt her presence for 1 second. I love you, Mama. For 1 second. I don't want to start crying. I'm not talking about that no more. I can't. It hurts too bad. And I promised her I would do everything while she was in the hospital to take care of her, and she would get her medicine and everything. It just didn't work work out that way, and I don't want to talk about it. So then I continued to take care of my dad for another 4 years while he was alive, 4.5 years, and I took really good care of him, and the doctor said, you're the reason why your dad's alive. You doing whatever you're doing, keep doing, because your dad's alive because of you. And I wouldn't let them give him any more blood thinners, nothing. Nope. No, can't do it. Leave him alone. And he lived another 4.5 years without their crap. He did good. So, yeah, that's my life. But if I could really tell you and go in depth how many times I would stay in the hospital. My dad was in the hospital for 42 or 43 days. Back in the day, having a midbrain stroke like that, me and my mom would go there in the morning, wouldn't come home till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Every day like that for months. I had to quit school at one point when my mother was real sick off and take care of her because my grandparents were in no condition to take care of her. I took care of my mother. I had to physically wash her and everything. She would be peeing her pants, shitting, throwing up like that in clothes day and night. I couldn't even go off my porch. And I was already 16, 17 years old, so I took care of her. And she got better. She got better after that. For a lot of years when I first was married, my mom was really good. And it was really beautiful to see my mom being well like that. And that meant the world to me. That meant the world to me. And I wanted this to be only 13 or 14 minutes, almost 22. But when I told you I just got a sense of my mother, I seen her at the kitchen table putting her makeup on with her lighted up mirror like she always was. And I felt her. And that is the weirdest shit. I'm telling you, I felt her. Yeah, I felt my ma. Susan Olive Hadella, I love you. And I love you guys. And I wanted just to tell you a little bit about my life and let you know that I've had much struggles. More struggles than I think a lot of average people. A lot of bad struggles. And I love you all. Like and subscribe. God bless you all. And I hope maybe somebody can hear this and it may help them and know that I thought my mother would never get better from being like that. And she did. Good things will happen to you. There's bad and good seasons. Know this. Please know this, okay? You might go through bad seasons for a year or two and have shitty times. Then all of a sudden your seasons change and you got nothing but good seasons. So just take it with a grain of salt. I love you guys. Like and subscribe. Have a great day and come back more because we're going to do some Name That Tunes. Okay? I love you. Bye.